a little bit of real world AFR testing. That clamps in there. Inductive pickup on the HT lead. Got a breakout connector for the TPS. So we've got AFR recorded, throttle position and engine RPM, all from this little gadget here. So we'll go out on the road, get to a position where we do a wide open throttle, full pull from idle all the way up. So we hit the record button and it'll record AFR, throttle position and RPM, and then we can put the memory card in a PC and get a proper look at what's going on. So just sat here on the side of the road. There's a nice straight bit of road here with no gateways, so I can have a proper wide open throttle pull. So I'll just go nice and easy, first, second, third, fourth, and then just crack the throttle at sort of 1500 RPM and let the revs build, and then we'll look at the data, just let it do a nice pull all the way through the revs, and hopefully we'll record it all. Guys, back in my orifice, I'm just looking at this data. There's a lot to unpack on this screen, and to make it extra complicated, this black line here, which is the engine RPM, the RPM signal's been dropping out, which is annoying. It's a issue with the inductive clamp on a HT lead. I have had this problem before. I thought I'd solved it actually, but clearly I haven't. The other way of getting the RPM signal is to go to the primary side of the ignition coil, which is a more reliable way of doing it. But obviously you've got to get to the wires going to the coil, which can be a bit problematic sometimes with some bikes. Yeah, so if we ignore the black line, just as a bit of an example, so if we can see this red trace here, that's throttle position. So as I'm opening the throttle, you can see you would see the RPM increase, but you can't in this because the top's missing off the graph, but you can see it's starting to richen up. So as I open the throttle here on this red one, we're going from, yeah, so we were cruising at this point, and then it went from, if I hold my cursor over it, we can go to those numbers there. So I was cruising and it was at 14.13, and then as I started to accelerate, initially it just leaned out slightly, but then when I got on the throttle, we were sort of under hard acceleration there, so full throttle, we were down at 12.77, which is about where you want to be under hard acceleration. So you get the idea. It gives you real-time, real-world information. And then what you can also do, if you really want to, you can play back. Sorry, I was going to do a screen grab of this, but it's just too much mither, and this is just a real quick video. Yeah, you can play back your data, which is kind of cool. Pause that. Yeah, I like doing, maybe not for fuel injected bikes, but for carbureted bikes, I like setting the fueling up this way, because you get a real sense of, it's sort of an analog way of doing it, if you like, because you can really feel what the bike feels like, because a well set up carbureted bike, dyno numbers aren't the full story. I've had, back in my racing days, you know, you'd have a bike that made loads of power on the dyno, but it was absolutely dog shit to ride. So you've got to, yeah, there's a balance to be had. You obviously want maximum horsepower, clearly, but it also needs to feel nice to ride. So setting your fueling up this way and being able to get a real world sense of what the bike feels like I think is a good way of doing it, especially with carbureted bikes. Anyway, real quick little behind the scenes sort of video, that one. Hope you enjoyed it. See you on the next one. Bye.